So I'm really thrilled to have on the show a massively skilled artist, filmmaker, musician, and synth patch maker, which is what this season's all about. So I'm going to be interviewing a variety of synth patch designers. So watch this space if you want to hear from the very designers who make some of the best patch banks in the world. Thor is the guy that we have on today. Yes, Thor. I'm talking to Thor. And he's made my absolute favorite patch bank for the Minilogue, which I bought last year, and pretty much it's my default bank now. It's versatile, it sounds huge, and you're going to hear some of that today. So today's interview is all about Thor and his Minilogue. So Thor, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Brilliant. So first off, actually, it might be good if we do this up front instead of waiting to the end, is basically where can people go to get your patch bank actually, and also get more information about you?
Yeah, I've got a website, Thoracius.com, Thoracius.com. It's always kind of a work in progress, but the section about the synth patches is at least complete. And yeah, that's where you can find my patches. I'm also on YouTube.
Okay.
And that's where you can see a lot of the stuff I've done, like videos and all the demos for the synth patches are up there. And
Sweet.
yeah.
Sweet, good man. Okay, so you know where to go. Maybe you want to sort of go and grab the patch bank whilst you're listening to this show here. So, okay, let's get a little bit more background about you. So, who is Thor? Tell us about Thor.
Who am I? It's like
ultimate philosophical question, eh?
Am I the same person as I was yesterday?
Anyway, okay, so to learn a little bit more about Thor, perhaps you'll indulge us in a 10 quickfire question routine. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Nice. So firstly, what is your favorite food?
Guacamole.
Cool. What's your favorite band?
Oh, that's a tough one. Do artists count, or does it have to be a band?
Yeah, no, anybody, artist, band,
like,
anything.
So I could say, this is tough. Okay, magnetic fields.
Magnetic fields, cool. Yeah, I love them. What about what is your favorite musical instrument?
I started off playing guitar, and so that's just kind of been my main thing, I guess. That's how I got into playing music. So yeah, guitar. I'm a guitar guy.
Sweet. Favorite synth?
The Ande Martineau. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not sure. It's French. It's an early electronic music instrument. It's kind of like how it wasn't really boxed in yet what a synth should be. So it's got like, you wear a ring and you slide it across a string, and
yeah,
you choose between 4 different speakers that have different acoustic properties. Like one has like a built-in physical reverb and stuff like that. And just the way it's got like this expressive, it's got like a thing you push to like do the volume and the expression. I'm a fan of that.
Cool, man. Yeah. Okay, and what about video games? Do you have a favorite video game? Do you like video games?
Definitely when I was a kid. Commander Keen 4 Invasion of the Vorticons, I think is the 4th one.
All right, nice. Which platform was that on?
That's PC. So it's
PC game.
It's the id Software who went on to make Doom and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But this was like a platform. It was like a Mario clone.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Favorite film?
Maybe The Tenant by Polanski.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Favorite book?
Street of Crocodiles by Bruno Schulz. It's
Okay.
Polish. He died in World War II. Nazis killed
Right.
him.
Okay.
It's
Send me the
great.
link later.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not what I've heard of. Brilliant. What about weather? Do you prefer sun, rain, snow? What do you like?
I like the sun. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
sun.
Okay.
I like Icelandic summers are pretty good. It's not like hot, but like if there's no wind and the sun's out, it's perfect. You can hike. You can hike indefinitely in that kind of weather.
Philosophers. Do you have a favorite philosopher?
Yeah, yeah. Nietzsche.
Nietzsche.
Yeah,
Nice. Big respect. Nice crossover with music as well, and Wagner and so on.
yeah.
And
And kind of how
favorite.
he blew up kind of the philosophy of his day and just kind of did it in poetry. I think it's just it's mind blowing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what about a city? Where's your favorite city in the world?
uh, I my favorite city I've lived in is probably Santa Cruz, California. It's where I went to university.
Wow, cool. Very nice. Pretty
It's
sunny
a
there,
good,
I should think.
yeah, it's nice. It doesn't get too hot, but it's got a good mix of like you got like wood forest, like redwood forest, and then you go down to the beach and you got cool beaches.
All right, so let's find out a little bit more about Thor. So, Thor,
Yeah.
perhaps you can tell us who is Thor.
Yeah, so born in 1983 to Icelandic parents. They moved to the States to finish their MDs and they won a visa lottery. So I grew up in the States. So we moved basically when I was a baby. Um, and yeah, as a teenager, I guess like around 12, like started playing music with some friends, started bands. The time that would have been like the mid 90s or late 90s. We're like trying to do a
Mm,
Nirvana thing.
yeah.
Um, and then yeah, just by the time I was 15, we were playing shows out of town and
Wow.
different bands.
Mm,
Yeah, it's just like something I've always been doing is music. And then towards around 2000, I kind of discovered that I guess cool music started using synths again. Like for a while, it was all kind of, especially in
yeah.
Southern California, it was very like guitar based music scene. It was very kind of stuck in the 90s sort of angst rock thing for a while there.
Mm, mm, mm,
But
mm,
yeah, so
mm,
I got in the late 2000s or no, early 2000s, sorry. In the early 2000s, I got my microKORG and also started university, and I enrolled in the electronic music program at UC Santa Cruz, which kind of exposed me to just like all the techniques and different synths and stuff.
mm.
And that's kind of how I got started doing it. And as far as the synth stuff, I started doing it for my own bands, and I got into sort of like got really into this whole idea of like doing DIY pop music, like DIY, like home recording, indie pop or
Mm.
psych pop and stuff. And that's just kind of how I got into doing music and recording music. And as far as the synth patches go, it's just started as like I had just an interest in it, and I was making them for myself for my own music, and like very specific ideas of what kinds of sounds I thought were cool, and I just wanted to do that. And then at some point, I just kind of decided, oh, I've got 20 patches. It might actually probably less than that. And I was like, oh, I'll just put these on my blog, sell them for a little bit of money, and people liked them. And then I guess the more I did recordings, like I was producing and engineering and mixing and mastering my own albums. like the more I could just develop my ear for, you know, just sound, I guess. I guess that's what the only way you develop your ear. But yeah, the more I developed my ear, and the more I just got a feel for the knobs and all that stuff, and it just kind of exploded. Like, I started making more and more patches just because I started to understand it better and really know how to, like, you know, just like timbres and frequencies and all that. Just kind of got a feel for it. And
So cool.
yeah, and then I just started. I started on the microKORG, and then I got a microKORG XL because I kind of like the idea of how it just kind of opened up. Like, I felt like the microKORG had like some really.
You just fell out of my ear.
Yeah,
Hold on while I insert.
Yes, the microKORG has just these limitations, like 4-voice polyphony and like a handful of other ones. And the XL, it opened up to 8 voices and had more of like a larger effects engine and stuff. So that one was a lot of fun. And then I went to the Minilogue, and then I got Arturia Microfreak. And I also had I had an Ensoniq SQ80.
What do you love about the Minilogue?
I mean, it's all besides the digital delay. It's all analog, right? So it's got a really unique sound. It's not like neutral. It doesn't have a neutral sound at all. It's got like a warm sort of low MIDI sort of.
Yeah.
It sounds. I mean, it's something that just sounds great, like in a mix and like on a recording and stuff. It gives you a lot. It gives you enough. You know, it's not like too simple. Like,
Mr. Patchbank Designer, yeah, tell us a little bit more about the 104, I think it's 148. Yeah, 148 sounds that you made. That's a massive Patchbank. And you know, I love everyone. There's no sound that I don't like. When I started to go through the first
some of the later ones were like, you know, maybe one person will like this. I'll just include it. You know.
Yeah.
But I threw those all kind of towards the end.
Right.
It's at least, I feel like it's at least 100 like good ones.
Yeah, and I can see some overlap maybe with your electronic pianos bank. You've done an you've done another bank, haven't you? Because we're talking about quite a big bank here, but you've also got another bank from Minilogue called Electric Pianos, yeah?
No, it's just the same. I just made like a different, just a video focusing on those.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay.
Those are all included. Those are all included.
Yeah, right. Okay, got it. It's sweet. Yeah, so you know, you go from you've got West Coast sounds to East Coast and so on. It's a real range of sounds. Also Miami Vice towards the start, and then Blade Runner, and then you name it, and also some real surprises. Yeah, so over to you. Maybe you want to just either talk through or just get down to some demo. I'll leave it up to you. What would you like to do next?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, as far as how I approached it is just, so, it's take a mixed approach. Like some of it is like, okay, what are the classic sounds that, people are going to want to play on a synth, right? And just tackling those. And then some of it is just kind of, this thing has a character of its own, and just kind of exploring every feature, right? And what can you do with the cross modulator? What can you do with the ring modulator? And just kind of, just like some of the patches are just purely like a technical exploration of like, what does that feature sound like? And then yeah, it's just, and then everything in between, I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Is there one particular sound that is sort of at the top of your mind when you think about this Patchbank?
I don't know. I mean, there's definitely like, let's see, like, I feel like this kind of that sound kind of reminds me of like the knife or something. I don't know why, but like to have like this super fat. This one's called like the Decker pad, which is a reference to
yeah.
or whatever. But I feel like
Blade Runner, yeah.
just the way you can have a pad and also the is it called portamento?
Yeah.
On just like the high on one of the notes, and that I feel like that's like, as far as like my experience with synths, that's like for me that's like Minilogue is at least one of the few synths I've played with that has that kind of characteristic. A guy sent me a link just like a couple days ago of some tracks he'd recorded with my patch bank for the Microkorg XL, and like it's really fun to hear people use a patch in a different context. Like I had made one that was like I was trying to do like a Joy Division sound. It's like a super kind of organ thing. And then I mean the way he used it was like sounded totally different. So different, it had like this beach house kind of organ thing going on. At least a few like classic sort of Tangerine Dream sounding sounds. See, okay, can this synth do like a phase string machine, sound? You can use that in so many things. It would be in the strings. Can't even remember. Let me look a little bit. I guess not, because this synth doesn't have a phaser, right? Is that the black metal one?
Yeah, black metal. It's so crazy.
So yeah, actually I've been creating a bunch of new patches to add to the Minilogue patch bank, and this is one of the new ones that I'm really liking. It's this lead. It's like, and I mean basically, it's you've got the saw wave, and then I'm taking I'm using the envelope to modulate the rate on the vibrato. It's pretty subtle. And then on top of that saw wave, I've got like a more of a triangle wave with some of the shape dialed in. And then I don't know, it's just something about just dialing that in as like an overtone. I'm really liking that one. Let me see. I really like these like really punchy sort of arpeggio. Take it up here, add some delay to it. And that's like one thing I've noticed with like a good analog synth. You can get like this really punchy sound that, I mean, you can kind of get it on a digital synth, but not all of them. For like the Micro Freak, you cannot get a punchy sound out of that thing. So I mean, that's where like a synth like this kind of shines. This is like the type of sound you hear in like an anime movie. I really like it. Like this like detune. It's good stuff. I'm a fan. These kind of like lo-fi sounding, like fuzzy Fuzzy sounds, I'm a fan of those. Let's see. Another lead. I feel like this synth, it has, it's pretty limited in what you can do, but like being able to use the envelope to modulate the rate or the intensity of the little trick, and it's just like anything you can do to kind of give a sound more life. I try to, even if you keep it subtle, if this one's not subtle at all, but I think that really adds a lot to a synth patch. Basic Italo disco. I like stuff like this too. You get this deliberate like detuning. It's like, I'm kind of like exaggerating what you'd get with like an actual like vintage analog synth. I think it's a cool sound. It's kind of something I play with. I really like, that's a cool feature of the Minilogue, is you can, if you set the portamento in the edit mode on a poly patch, as soon as it's exhausted the polyphony, it starts sliding between notes. It's kind of a cool feature of this synth. This thing's so fat. And even just like stuff like this. It's like there's just something so warm and fat about it that's like, I feel like that's where like a synth like this shines, where like, it is just like this analog filter and an analog oscillator. I'm really a big fan of like this bright, shimmery synth sound. I've been using that a bit. Really exaggerating. Sometimes it's fun to just like have like a lo-fi, do like an instrument sound. It's kind of like a saxophone. Oh, this is a good one. I feel like, you hear this in all sorts of stuff, this sound. Definitely in some Tangerine Dream. I'm actually surprised there's like a lot of pretty cool organ sounds you can do with this guy. So I guess, in the 80s, if you had an analog synth, you'd be all over doing everything you could. Maybe today, people just, go with an organ for an organ, but it has its own character. I like this one. Trout Rocky. Pretty 80s. Like a Casio here. One of my new organs. It's basic. I've been adding a bunch of new like brassy sounds and string sounds. I guess you can never have too much variety of those. Here's a string. So like to do this, you can. I think the waveform window is really cool because you can kind of see what's going on.
Have you got any more sound design ideas for Minilogue, or are you just kind of looking to the future for different instruments?
Well, I mean, I definitely take requests. I mean, if you have any, if you want to, send me the timestamp of a sound in a Tangerine Dream recording, you want me to try to tackle it, I'll give it a shot. That goes for anybody watching.
What's the future looking like for you? I mean, I think you mentioned to me at one point about some new music, that might be coming out. And is that a solo project, or what's that about?
Yeah, so like most of the stuff I've done previously was more just like the synths were kind of incidental, like it was, like psychedelic indie pop or whatever, and like with synths. But I was working on like an all synth sort of synth disco project, like a space disco thing, with my girlfriend singing on it.
Cool.
So that's pretty much ready, and then I also have a bunch of other songs that I just need to record for it. So like that's actually super ready to like release almost. You want to hear this?
Give a bit of advice for someone who's just getting into sound design?
I think I mean, with a synthesizer, of course, you can just twiddle knobs and create crazy things, but I think it's super important to understand the layout and sort of the mechanics behind it, like just like the flow chart of like here's the oscillator and how that feeds in, and how the the LFO and the filter and the envelopes and all that just kind of just map out how, if you have an understanding of how that all maps together, and like the flow and how it all affects one another. I think that's super important, because then like what to do get to a certain like thing, and then just be just listening and like getting a sense for, okay, what does a ring modulator sound like? What does it sound like if I put noise and crank the resonance, and like, oh, okay, you don't really hear the noise anymore, but it just like adds more to the resonance or whatever. You get just playing around with it and like getting a feel for what makes what sound is definitely helpful. One thing I always inspired me was Wendy Carlos has like an album called The Secrets of Synthesis, and she just goes through like just like her discography and like describes, like she gets very technical, like what you talk. I mean, I haven't listened to it in like 20 years, but like it inspired me at least a lot, and also helped me just understand sort of technically a lot of different things.
I found it here. wendycarlos.com. There's
so for people who don't know, Wendy Carlos was one of the first sort of pioneers of synthesizer. Did these renditions of classical music for like and you hear it on the Clockwork Orange soundtrack, for example. But this was like the first mainstream synthesizer music, was like the switched on Bach stuff. It was like made the synthesizer a household name. And then she went into like some pretty crazy tunings, like which can be hard to listen to because we're used to Western tunings.
Yeah.
But it's good to have like sort of just like the theoretical understanding of it. The different temperaments, like well-tempered and stuff. I mean, yeah, I mean the equal temperament isn't necessarily the best sounding, especially if you're sticking in one key.
Thank you for that, for opening up people's palate.
I had fun. I've had fun.
Yeah, me too, man.